In this video, I'm going to overview Unit 3 and the third project, which is our last project. So Unit 3 will take us through to the end of the semester, which is December 7th. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the Unit 3 folder. Project 3 will be you creating a magazine layout. And so the layouts that you'll be creating would be the cover, table of contents, letter from the editor, and then 2 articles. And then each article has 2 pages. You will create your own name of the magazine. Of course, you'll pick the theme of magazine, so you could do anything that you would like to do that would be appropriate, obviously. So it could be photography, it could be a hobby or whatever, anything that you may have interest in. So you will determine the name of your magazine and then create the masthead. The masthead, of course, is on the front cover, running typically across the top, although sometimes they do run down the side. So this masthead will be your own design, and then you won't run into any copyright issues. I'm just kind of going down this list here. So, of course, you'll be using photography. So you want to make sure that the photos would either be your own, or you could go to a free usage website. So Unsplash is a good one, Morgue. And actually, I will find a couple more that I'll list that would be good resources for you. And then be sure to fill out a timesheet. I have a kind of an anatomy of a cover of a magazine, so just calling out the different areas. This may be helpful for you. And you can do either letter size or the A4. Of course, we're doing the layout itself in InDesign, so we're using facing pages. This is a suggested margin amount for a magazine. Does it have to be this? No, but it's something that's used out in the real world. Your timesheets, and of course each week's folder for submitting the work. I want to take a look at the project sheet. So I'm going to go into the Create folder and then take a look at the project sheet. All right, so overview, you're going to do some thumbnails, of course, color and font studies for the cover and the masthead. And then I've broken down, first we're doing the masthead, then the cover. The next submission, the next stage will be table of contents and letter from the editor. And then lastly, it'll be the 2 articles. As far as the content for those articles, you can just take that from online and you could just credit it at the end of the article where you got it from. I'm not expecting you to write an article. Okay. So then we're building the layout in InDesign. The masthead, if you want, could either be done in InDesign or it could be created in Illustrator, and then you would just place your Illustrator created masthead into InDesign. It's kind of up to you. And then this would be your pages, how you would have it set up in InDesign. And you all know that the first page is always a single item, and then you can see all the facing pages. And this is what's required, that you would have the structuring in InDesign. All right, so let's go back. Here's a timeline for each stage of the development of this third project, okay, with the due dates. I just posted this project development. I thought you don't have to do anything with this, but I just thought it would be a good strategy. So be sure to go through this. So for each type of layout, whether it be table of contents or letter from the editor or whatever it may be, or the cover, do research. I would research what that could look like, and I would just research, for example, the table of contents, research the different grids that are used in the layouts. How are they using photos? Are they using photos? So you probably want to have, I don't know, you could have 5 5 to 10 articles listed just with their titles on the table of content, whatever would look well, you know, to kind of showcasing your layout. So whatever that would require, and you're making these titles up, all right? Same thing, get to the letter from the editor, research that, kind of get a look. Probably want a photo to be included on this page. It could be a photo of anything, anyone. And then the purpose of the letter from the editor would be that the editor would be kind of summarizing and overviewing what that particular issue is about. So that's what the letter from the editor is about. So it doesn't have to be very much text. It could be, you know, it could be 1 to 2 paragraphs. Definitely want a picture of the editor, which you can just, you know, use any picture of anyone. And then your 2 articles, again, depending upon what your theme is. So let's say it's you know, animation or 3D graphics or something. I would research that, kind of look at the different grids that are used in the layouts. How are photos being used? You know, you just want to get inspired about layout because, as you can, I'm sure you understand, this project really is about layout. So you do research. So I would do for each step with this project, do research. And then you may want to customize your search depending upon the theme. So you could do it on gardening. Well, then when you research, use gardening in your search. All right, so let's take a look here. In the first week, so November 2nd, so I have some websites listed talking about designing a magazine, a Padlet. I'm asking for your response. Here I'm having you do, this is the only formal research worksheet that I'm having you do, and it's for the cover. So I'm not requiring you to do those other items that I just went through. You for sure want to do the research. I'm just not requiring you to turn in what you find, all right? Again, a reminder of the anatomy of the cover. So you got the masthead at the top. Typically, you would have a descriptor explaining what the type of magazine it is. So is it fashion, you know, photography, whatever. And then you do want to include, you could do the volume issue. This is using summer and then the year. You do want to include that in your masthead, all right? Generally, a photo is used as a backdrop on the cover of a magazine. You know, there would be a time where illustration could be appropriate, depending upon, you know, if that were to be the theme. And then how are you handling your titles? And so you can see this particular cover has 5 titles called out. You could do less than that. And as you do your research on covers, you want to look at fonts, how the title was positioned. It's kind of nice how they repeated the color on here. So those are the types of things that you want to pay attention to when you're doing your research. All right, thumbnails, and that's for the that is for the masthead and the cover. I need to write that on here. Do identify the name of your magazine and the theme. So you can just put that, you know, you can just put that in the wiki. And then, of course, the critique. So step 1, thumbnails. Step 2, you're doing your color and font study. You can do it on a combination, actually, of the masthead and cover, and, of course, the critique. So that is the first week. And then the second week, November 9th. You're choosing between these 2 LinkedIn Learning. You don't have to do both. I'm just asking you to pick one. They're both dealing with magazines. The first one is focused on the cover, and the second one is doing the layout. All right, you only have to do 1 LinkedIn Learning. I'm asking for feedback with the Padlet, and then you're turning in your final masthead. So that would be a standalone piece of artwork. So either, I think probably everyone would do it in Illustrator, and then you can just upload that PDF. And of course the critique. The next week, so that's the 16th. You're turning in the final cover. So with this, what you could do is you have created your InDesign 8-page document. So what you can do is just export the entire document, but you only have the cover done. So that would be a way of handling this. And then, of course, you're going to critique everyone's cover. And the 23rd. Table of contents and letter from the editor. Those two layouts, again, you're working on the InDesign file that has 8 pages. Now you've just completed 2 more, so we have a total of 3. Export your InDesign file, and it's fine that you have those blank pages that will be used in the future. But on this particular submission for November 23rd, it's the table of contents and letter from the editor. And research these items. Or if you live by, Barnes & Noble, that's a great opportunity just to kind of research by actually holding a magazine and kind of paging through it. So just for this project, I have the letter from the editor and the table of contents kind of up front. If you look at a real magazine, sometimes they're not always up front. But for just the purpose of this project, I'm having you put those 2 layouts up front. All right. And then the next week, the 30th, of course, the 2 articles are due. And each article is 2 pages, so it's a total of 4 pages. And of course, you're using photography and choosing the font for the header. You may have subtitles and pull quotes, and you have to determine, are you doing, how many columns? Are you doing 2 columns? Maybe you're doing 3 columns. As you do your research, so you would do, so let's say you're doing photography for your magazine theme. So research photography magazine articles. And then you can, not only would you get the text for your layout, but you can just check out how the layout was created, the grid, the look of the grid. How did these other magazines handle columns? Did they do 1 column? Did they do 2, 3? So that's all part of your research. All right, so that's November 30th. And then on the 7th, which is the last class for our class, and it's the last day of submitting for this project, I'm asking for a PDF. All right, so that you'll submit in the wiki. And then I'm also asking you to package the InDesign file, and then if you would, zip or compress it. So if you're in Windows, you're zipping, and if you're on a Mac, you're compressing. So you're zipping or compressing that folder and then uploading it in this assignment link. Of course, I have the design brief, and then you can upload your timesheet. If you have any questions on this project, please do not hesitate to text me or to email, leave a message on my office phone number. Any of those methods of contacting me, we can talk about things if you were to have questions.